What's up, guys? Justin here, or J-Man if you're watching this on the Pro Wrestling Pulse channel. I am uploading this on both our former channel and my current channel. So if you're watching this on the Pro Wrestling Pulse channel, check the description out and click the link down there for my new channel called Justin Illusion. Be doing a bunch of different stuff on there. I've got like 3 videos out so far talking about wrestling, music, movies, TV, just pretty much a whole bunch of different stuff. So if you're watching it on that channel, be sure to click that link in the description because that's where all a bunch of new content is going. And be sure to subscribe to the channel once you head over there. And I thank you guys for watching and all the support over the years. On today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my WWE Royal Rumble 2021 review. I'm shooting this a day after the Royal Rumble. We had everybody get together over the Pulse Dungeon, had all the fam and friends and everybody over. We had a lot of fun, and Royal Rumble's always such a blast, always the unpredictability, and it's just always the most fun night of the year to me. I mean, outside of WrestleMania, but always fun, always unpredictable. You never know what you're gonna get, and that's just absolutely one of the best parts of pro wrestling. You just don't know what's gonna happen, and it's always so much fun over all the years and all the awesome moments that have happened. And we had some awesome moments at this Royal Rumble as well. Kicking things off, we had the pre-show matchup for the women's tag team titles. We had champions Charlotte and Asuka going up against Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. This was kind of predictable. I feel like, we knew that obviously Asuka wasn't going to go into WrestleMania with, both the Raw women's title and the tag titles, and he knew Charlotte wasn't going to be in a tag championship match at WrestleMania. She's going to be doing bigger and better things, obviously. And Shayna and Nia, whatever. I could care less about this team. I could care less about both of them. I think Shayna's kind of fallen off. I think she had a lot of potential whenever she came up to the main roster. I think she's a good worker for sure. I just don't think she has that it factor feel to me. I think that she had that more in NXT, and I think that's a Triple H production going on there to really get the fullest out of everybody that maybe you don't think could be that on their own, but they, Tripp and Shawn really know how to do that in NXT very well with some people down there. Yeah, whatever. I mean, Lacey coming out and doing the stuff with Flair, and do we get a Lacey and a Charlotte match going on possibly at WrestleMania with like Rick as the ref or something? I don't know. I hope not. I think that's a complete waste of Charlotte. I think that you can, sneak her in maybe a triple threat for the Raw title if you want to bring up, maybe do. I think Rhea, Charlotte, and Asuka for the Raw Women's title would be tremendous. I think that would be maybe the way to go. In my opinion, if I were booking it, that's what I would do. But maybe we'll just get this little tiny feud out of the way, and Lacey can go on to do whatever the hell, and Charlotte can go on to do bigger and better things, because I really just don't give a crap about this angle and the usage of Ric Flair. I swear to God, he's going to die on camera. It's just going to happen. But yeah, Shayna and Nia, the new tag champions there, and then just kind of a whatever pre-show matchup. Kicking off the main show, we had the WWE Championship on the line when champion Drew McIntyre went up against fucking Goldberg. Please, for the love of God, I don't know anyone on the planet Earth that wants to see Goldberg. All of his reactions when there was a live crowd was just absolutely horrible. I don't understand. He's not a legend that people want to see. Are there legends that people want to see? Absolutely. We'll get to the men's Royal Rumble match coming up here in a minute. But there are legends that people just want to just go away and stop showing and stop putting out there. We do not want to see them anymore, and I just don't understand. They don't draw. It's not like they're bringing in just viewers and just so many buys and whatever the hell and merchandise sales and shit. It's not happening. So why do we continue to see it? I don't know. It must be that Vince has a boner for Goldberg. Whatever. I don't care. We don't care, and we don't want to see him anymore. For the love of God, stop putting Goldberg out there. Hopefully this is the end of us having to see him. Thankfully, Drew McIntyre retaining the title. We had a lot of anxious moments during this 3-minute match, if that's even possible. Starting out, they brawled on the outside, and then they finally rang the bell, and they literally just hit finishers for 2 minutes, and then, they got out of there with a Claymore kick, and, Goldberg got pinned 1, 2, 3. They did like the passing the torch moment, like, I respect you now and you can go on to be a champ, whatever. Like, it's just so dumb. Nobody wants to see that. That is not, if you're gonna put somebody in there with them, like, you could have did that a couple years ago, or when you had Drew come up a year or so ago and have him be in there with the Undertaker and beat the Undertaker. Like, you could have did it with I think you could still do it with a John Cena. I think that would be a big win for Drew McIntyre if they wanted to do that. But just nobody, when you start out this program and you start out this feud having Drew McIntyre say that this is gonna be like facing my dad, that should tell you everything right there why you shouldn't be doing this match, because it's literally 100% accurate. It's literally him facing his dad. This guy's in the prime of his career. This guy looks like a shit brick house. Drew McIntyre does not need to be in there with 50-year-olds that are so far past their prime, it's not even funny. So for the love of God, stop Sean Goldberg and be the end of that shit. But Drew McIntyre, moving on, I definitely think he's going to be going into WrestleMania past these two basically double roadblock pay-per-views and Roadblock and Elimination Chamber. But I see McIntyre moving on and holding on to the championship going into WrestleMania, which I am all for. So thankfully, Drew McIntyre retaining his WWE Championship in that matchup there. Next matchup, we had the SmackDown Women's Championship on the line when champion Sasha Banks went up against Carmella. Yep, that happened. Next up, we had the Women's Royal Rumble matchup here. I'm definitely looking forward to this one. I think there was a lot that could be happening in this matchup. It ended up being kind of predictable towards the end, but a very good predictable finish there that I was looking forward to and hoping would go down. This one started with Bayley and Naomi coming out. Naomi, I believe, was a semi kind of return. We haven't seen her in a little bit. So we started out with that. Bianca Belair coming in at number 3. I understand now why you didn't have her come out at number 1 by what happened at the end of this show. So we were sitting there thinking, like, why didn't you just have Bianca come out at number 1? She feels like this kind of Iron Woman type, thing that she can have going. Obviously a great worker, and having obviously what ended up happening in this matchup go down, that would have been kind of another thing on top of that storybook kind of ending that you had there. But I guess it makes sense with what they ended up doing later in the night. So sort of surprised you had in here, you had Shotzi Blackheart from NXT come in. She came in at 5. Toni Storm coming in at 7. An outstanding, I cannot tell you guys my love of Billie Kay. Oh my god, she is absolutely tremendous. Billie Kay coming out, and every single entrant after her, she was trying to make her like new tag partner or new friend. I know she tried to do it with literally like Shayna and like everybody that came out, she tried to do it with. And finally we had Jillian Hall come out, which was just an absolutely random blast from the past, which was so funny. And Billie Kay's reaction when Jillian came out, and it's like she has been scouting it and like, oh my god, we could be a tag team, we could be Billie and Jilly, and I'm just like, gold. That's just tremendous. I don't know if that was a Pritchard idea, I don't know who came up with that, but just dude, good shit there. That was awesome. I was just like, this shit is just hilarious. So we had a little altercation with them. You had Peyton Royce come out, so you had Billie and Peyton do some stuff, and she was about to do the iconic pose, and then she turned and Ruby Riott was right there, and she's like, well shit, I want to be with the Riott Squad. It's just great. Whatever they do with Billie Kay, keep it going. It's tremendous stuff. It feels like it has Pritchard's thumbprints and handprints all over it, because he has a SmackDown thing going on there, but just tremendous stuff. Continue it up with Billie Kay, because it's just great. Hit Victoria come out at 10. That was pretty cool. Another kind of name that we haven't seen as far as a legend or return entrance in the Women's Rumble yet, so that was a cool one to see. We had Santana Garrett come in from NXT, which she's really not even in NXT. She's almost like still in developmental, but she had a nice little showing, looked really athletic and good stuff there. I haven't seen too much of her stuff, but she looks like she's has a very promising future ahead of her, so that was cool to see. Rhea Ripley came in at 14. Kind of predictable to see here in this match. She was my number 2 choice to win this one. It's kind of funny how 1 and 2 ended up coming down. Again, kind of predictable, but Rhea looked outstanding. She got the AK intro with her freaking Mitch Lucker foot stomp going on there, so that was some cool shit. Hopefully she'll stay on the main roster. I think she'd be a really good asset to Raw, and you can put her in there with some people that she's had great matches with, especially like Charlotte. That great matchup they had at WrestleMania last year. So I think that seeing her on the main roster, that's a good thing. She finished off great with that match that she had with Raquel Gonzalez. I think it was tremendous. Definitely one of the better matches of the year so far as NXT and WWE goes. Charlotte came out at 15. Tori Wilson came out at 17, one that we've seen in the match before. Had a fun little thing with Alicia Fox. She came out at 21. We had R-Truth come out and say like, oh shit, that was wrong Rumble guy, sorry. But ended up having Alicia get in there and win the 24/7 title for like, 30 seconds, and then she got eliminated. Truth won the championship back. So fun little altercation there. We had Dakota Kai come out. That was kind of cool to see that. I don't think she'll be sticking on the main roster. I think she'll be going back to NXT, but cool little spot there. Lana coming out looking like she just like got out of bed. I don't really know what the hell that was all about, but doing her stuff where Nia took her out 15,000 times and put her through a table every single day, it seemed like. Alexa came out 27, another kind of favorite that we can see there. Didn't end up seeing anything really come of that. Basically it was, they started to do the stuff with, her about to change over, and we saw the kind of like lights go down, like when you see the Fiend or what we've seen with Alexa as of late, and she just gets eliminated, and we're just like, okay, I guess we don't have the production time to tape her going in like they probably do on Raw whenever she switches over her kind of gimmick or whatever. We had Ember Moon come out, whatever. I really don't care about Ember Moon anymore. She really hasn't done anything for me and hasn't really, whatever. Nia Jax 29, she could have came out and jumped off a cliff for all I give a shit. And then we had Natalya, which was already planned and booked out for 30. The Final Four coming down to Charlotte, Rhea, Bianca, and Natalya here. You had Natalya out, then we had Bianca and Rhea take Charlotte out, coming down to, which I thought was really cool. I think it's cool to finish with the younger upstarts that have bright futures ahead of them, and giving them this time to shine in the Rumble. There's a really cool moment where they're both sitting on the outside apron, and you're like, yo, I'm not gonna hit you, I'm not gonna do anything, let's get in the ring, let's just do this. I like that little moment. I don't think we've ever really seen that in a Rumble before, so I thought that was kind of a cool spot. And you have Bianca Belair getting the win and tossing out Rhea Ripley in the end. Awesome moment. I think it's outside of Asuka, I think it's the best. I think just so perfect fit for the time and what was going on. I think Bianca is it was a perfect timing of continuing that push and continuing that flow that she's been on, with just continue to progress and just do great things in her career, coming up onto the main roster and getting this perfect kickstart right at the best time. I think it was very organic. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm thankful that they didn't go a different route, even though everybody was assuming this would happen. Some things just need to happen, and it just was perfect timing, and I have absolutely no problem with this being predictable, because it's the perfect person to do it with. It was the perfect story to do it with. You can just strap the rocket to Bianca and everybody's going to be behind her. I think a perfect matchup would be her and Sasha. I think you can lean Sasha a little bit more heel, and obviously have Bianca be the huge baby face going into that matchup, and give Bianca the championship at WrestleMania. Totally fine with that. I think that would be tremendous. I think she's a great worker. She can talk. She has charisma, awesome look, great music. Great. It's just tremendous. I can't say enough about Bianca. I love the future that she holds, and I think she's going to be another one that you throw up in that, Charlotte, Asuka, Bayley, Sasha, Becky, all those. She's going to be up there in that echelon, because I think she's a great worker, and she has, just a great feel to her. She has that it factor feel. So awesome moment there. Bianca Belair winning the 2021 Women's Royal Rumble. Next matchup, we had the Universal Championship on the line when champion Roman Reigns went up against Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. This one was, to me, a tale of two portions of a match. Very solid stuff at the beginning here. A lot of awesome brawling on the outside. They did stuff up by the LED boards and the kind of where all the screens are for the Thunderdome. They did that same spot they did on SmackDown where, Reigns threw Owens off. I think they went another tier up through the tables. They went to the back and brawled on the outside. Kind of a cool shot to be able to see the rest of the Tropicana field and the rest of the stadium there. And they did some fun spots out there. They did the Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, golf cart spot where Kevin Owens, it was brutal. Kevin Owens just threw himself through that freaking golf cart, just no regard for his body or well-being, just like any old great Kevin Owens match goes. Love Kevin Owens and what he'll do for entertainment purposes and the purposes of a match. We had that really awesome spot where, he went up onto that forklift and raised the forklift up, and we did that senton spot. I think the visual on that was really, really cool, and I think they pulled that off really well. There was another spot where they were trying to do a pop-up powerbomb through a table, and the table didn't break, so I was like, screw it, I'll just jump up on these random, sketchy, rolly freaking things and crates and, do a little frog splash off that. So kind of a cool spot to, you know, fix something that didn't really happen with where they were trying to go through that table. Yeah, and then they brawl back to the regular portion of the arena by ringside and up by the entranceway, and they had this kind of light tower thing, and Paul Heyman had handcuffs. Owens ended up getting the cuffs from him and handcuffing Roman underneath, so he couldn't get on his feet. I mean, logistically, if he wanted to kind of sit like a catcher, you know, he could kind of like sit on his feet, but whatever. But the issue here was them trying to get the handcuffs off Roman, and it was just excruciating to try to watch Paul Heyman get these damn handcuffs off of Roman Reigns. And it's just spots like this where it just, it just takes away. It just really takes away. And it sucks because the work that was done in this match, they could have came back through the curtain, went and did another big spot or something like that, and had Roman win. If you wanted to even do the chokeout spot, you can do that to where Owens wouldn't, stay down, so Roman had to choke him out. But just take the damn handcuffs out, or handcuff Owens to where, have that, shades of the Mick Foley, at the 99 Rumble. I mean, without the 17,000 chair shots to the head, but, you could have had him handcuffed to where he just wouldn't stay down, and then you finally had to choke him out to stay out. I think that would have told a better story, and it would have added probably another half star to this damn match if you didn't have this damn handcuff spot where they couldn't get him off, because there was just so many layers of why this was bad. It was bad, A, because Roman could stand. It was bad, too, because they had to stop counting because, it's a last man standing match. He's not standing, so even though you're trying to get the handcuffs off, it doesn't mean the count should stop, because he was obviously on the ground for way longer than 10 seconds, longer than 30 seconds. So the logistics of the match, that kind of sucked. And then you just had Kevin Owens just standing on the sidelines, just twiddling his thumbs, like he was up, he was okay. Why would he let go and let off against Roman and not just continue to beat the shit out of him when he's handcuffed and can't be ashamed? Would Roman not have done that? Just because he's a face, he wouldn't do that? Like, what? Like, literally, Roman was, like, talking shit about his dead grandpa in this match, and you're just gonna tell me that Kevin Owens is gonna sit there and not beat the shit out of Roman when he's handcuffed and can't get out of handcuffs? That logistically just, it really did it in for me. I still think this was a solid match. The ending is what I'll remember, unfortunately, and just that botched handcuff spot, it just did not come off well. I think it worked very well in the TLC match that Sami Zayn, AJ, and Jeff Hardy had. Very interesting spots of the handcuffs where it worked and was pulled off, but the whole time I'm watching him do this, I'm like, when is one of these handcuffs going to fuck up? When is it going to be something to where they can't get out of this handcuff or the key doesn't work or whatever? There's just a lot of errors and mistakes that can happen there with those spots, and I just think that it doesn't add as much unless you just did the handcuffs and handcuffed Owens or handcuffed Reigns, and that's all you had to do without getting them uncuffed, because the uncuffed spot really did it in for me. But still solid work, solid effort. These guys busted their ass in this matchup, but Roman Reigns retaining his Universal Championship in that last man standing match there. Now on to our main event. We had the men's Royal Rumble matchup here. Obviously this was already set up to have the first two entrants already announced. First entrant being the Rated R Superstar Edge, second entrant being the Legend Killer Randy Orton. Obviously the history that they have there starting out the Rumble, I'm all for. Very cool to see that. Had a really hot start, obviously. Edge just going out and attacking Randy before he can even get to the ring. Good stuff. Makes sense storyline wise. Makes sense as far as, what the paths that they've, gone down and the rivalry that they've had. Obviously, Edge getting injured this past May after 9 years of, dealing with, the fact that he wouldn't be able to come back and having that amazing return at last year's Royal Rumble, one that we'll remember forever. And then, getting injured this previous May and then coming back again. The resolve and the determination of Edge is just unbelievable. The guy is just, he's a mountain of a man when it comes to, everything he's been through and, continuing to persevere and continue to get through it. Amazing stuff. As far as some of the entrants, we had Sami Zayn earlier in the night say he's like, I'm surprised there's a conspiracy against me. I'm surprised I'm not 1 or 2. He was 3. So pretty funny spot there. We had Jeff Hardy come out and save Edge. Kind of cool little callbacks to, Edge and Christian and the Hardys and all the great stuff that they've done. Come out and save him from getting eliminated. We had Carlito come out. I don't know what the hell is in the water down there in Puerto Rico, but holy shit. Carlito looked amazing. He looked in tremendous shape. just a muscle-bound shit brick house. I mean, it was literally like the scene of, you know, Captain America going into the thing to become Captain America and then coming out and looking like, you know, shit brick house Chris Evans. It was like that. I mean, it was crazy to see him come out. We were like, that's Carlito? Like, wow. But he actually looked really good in this match. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, dude, we saw MVP last year and the great stuff that he could do on the mic and everything. You know, why not give Carlito a spot? He was always a great talker. He was always a solid worker. Why the hell not? Like, or at least put him in developmental to help train guys or something, like with promos or with, you know, in-ring stuff. Shit. I mean, he can be an asset. I think, I know he had a lot of issues back in the day with, you know, drugs and shit or whatever the hell. I don't even remember. But fun spot there. Definitely one, you know, it was kind of a fun little surprise. We had Xavier and Big E come out representing their, you know, Brody Lee gear. Very cool stuff. Had like kind of plaid and his like portrait on the side. Really cool little tribute to Brody Lee there from the guys in New Day. Good stuff. We had Damian Priest come out at 14. Really cool here. I think he is extremely undervalued and an underrated talent. Obviously with the talent that's NXT or in NXT, you can kind of get overshadowed with some of the guys down there, the Undisputed Era guys and Balor and Gargano and Ciampa and all those kind of guys. But Damian Priest is a solid worker. He has a great, interesting look. He has a different style of look for a big man. Cool kind of character, very reminiscent of the original Lone Wolf, like Baron Corbin character, but way, way better of a worker than Baron Corbin and way more interesting than Baron Corbin, in my opinion. You could literally interchange Damian Priest for Baron Corbin on the roster, and I don't think anybody would be upset with that. Yeah, but I think he had a great showing here, and continue to see good things for him in the future with Damian Priest there. We have Riddle had a good showing in this matchup. Daniel Bryan coming out at 17. Right after that at 18, coming in his 18th and record-breaking, or still record-holding Royal Rumble appearance. We had Kane, had a fun little Team Hell No kind of reunion there in the middle of the ring with them embracing, and then I think Kane just chokeslammed Daniel Bryan or something. We had Dominic Mysterio make his first ever appearance in a Royal Rumble. Unfortunately, you couldn't have Dominic and Rey in there at the same time. Will we get something with Dominic and Rey possibly having like a father-son retirement match in WrestleMania? I'm predicting it. I think it would be really cool to possibly have Rey end his career with his son at WrestleMania. If you're a father, you can't ask for anything more than that as far as your wrestling career goes. That's pretty insane. I think that'd be a cool moment. You had Hurricane come out at 23, another little surprise thing here. He tried to go in there and choke slam Bobby Lashley and I believe Big E. So fun little thing there. 24. Holy shit. We had Captain Charisma Christian come out. Huge Christian fan for years and years and years. Obviously, Edge and Christian, my favorite tag team of all time. And, you know, seeing Christian come back after a lot of concussion issues, and we were thinking his career is possibly over. We've seen glimpses of Christian over the last year with the stuff that was going on with Randy and Edge. And having him come out here, he looked in tremendous shape. Christian has always been one of the absolute most underrated and best workers in wrestling history that gets so underappreciated because obviously he's lived in the shadow of Edge for a long time, but you know, him breaking off and doing his great stuff he did in TNA, he's always been a tremendous worker, always one of my favorites, and had a tremendous showing here. I hope it's not the last we see of Christian. If it is, at least we got to see him one more time. He got to be in there with, you know, his best friend Edge, and we got to see some glimpses of that stuff. We got to, like a double team move with him, which was really cool. Sucks we couldn't see a Concerto. We'll never see a Concerto again, but great stuff there. Will we get a match with Christian and Edge down the road? Time will tell. Will I be all about it? You're goddamn right I will. And I don't give a shit who cares about it. If they're like, oh, these two older guys in there taking time, fuck off. That shit would be amazing. I mean, if there was crowds there, these crowds would be shitting all over themselves because these guys are still over at the age that they are, and still can go. Christian looked outstanding this match, great shape, awesome to see him there. Right after that, we had AJ Styles come out. So you had AJ, Christian, and Edge all in the match at the same time, and Daniel Bryan. Need to mention too, at the beginning of this, you had Edge and Randy brawling. Randy went to the outside and looked like he had a knee injury. Obviously, it was kayfabed up and obviously booked that way. He went to the back and they were cutting off the knee brace, showing him backstage, and obviously you knew that Randy would be coming back towards the tail end of this matchup. I think it was to make it to where you didn't have Randy and Edge in there at the same time and them not doing stuff, because it would look weird that they wouldn't just be wanting to beat the shit out of each other for the entire time they were in the Rumble. So logistically it makes a lot of sense because they can do stuff with everybody else while Edge and Randy don't have to kind of get involved with each other, take the time, take Randy out because you obviously want to keep Edge in there because, you know, he's the guy that hasn't been there obviously for the last couple months, the last 8 months or whatever. So I think that was smart booking to bring him back in with what they did. That was pretty cool. Yeah, Ray come out at 26. Like I said, unfortunately, you didn't see him and Dominic. We're getting towards the tail end. We're starting to think of like guys like, okay, we need like Sheamus is out there and possibly Cesaro, you know, Keith Lee, Braun Strowman. We didn't get Keith Lee. That I think is something that's been super overlooked. Keith Lee has been pushed very, very hardly and very, very fast with his rise onto the, you know, the main roster. I am a fan of Keith Lee. I'm just not. I don't think he's found it yet. To me, he just comes off like a freaking State Farm employee, like he's like sells insurance or some shit. Like he just is a big dude. He has a great look. He's a great worker for his size. When he opens his mouth, it does it in for me. I cannot stand him talking. It just sounds so bad, and it sounds so like he's trying so hard. I still think he needs some time, but I thought for sure he would be in this Rumble. I think they were protecting him by not putting him in this Rumble, so it makes a lot of sense to me. But the obvious threat here, the one that we're watching out for, is like, for the love of God, do not let Braun Strowman win this match. Braun Strowman coming out at 30, he was the one we had to avoid. Braun and Christian actually get eliminated at the same time. I will take it. Sucks that Christian got eliminated there. It'd been cool to see him in the final kind of stages of this with, you know, possibly an Edge would have been kind of cool. But Braun Strowman getting eliminated, thank God. 29, we had the return of Seth Rollins. Good shit. Didn't get the, you know, return of the like kind of OG Seth Rollins. We still had the Messiah. I'm cool with the Messiah gimmick. I'm not cool with his song. But I think taking away his song is a massive mistake. I think that song's tremendous. And you can have the Messiah character with that still, but they don't. They still have like the, you know, Jesus-y getting ready for church music. But yeah, he looked great. Obviously tremendous from the birth of his new child and coming out here. Obviously we didn't get Becky in that one. I think it'll be a little bit until we see Becky possibly in the summer. I think SummerSlam would be a good time for her to come back. But yeah, Seth coming out here looked great. It came down to the supposed final two was Seth and Edge. Edge eliminating Seth. We all knew that Randy was going to be back. As soon as he eliminated Seth, Randy comes behind, goes for the RKO. We, you know, obviously we're like, shit. Like, is Randy going to win? Is going to be the you know, second only, third time, you know, 3-time champion, or second time, 3-time champion. I don't know what the hell I just said. But yeah, the third time winner here. But we did not get that. Edge eliminating Randy Orton, doing the reversal and trying to throw him out, and outstanding moment here. I've seen people online, you know, bitch, like, why is this 47-year-old guy, why is he in here winning the Royal Rumble? You want to know why? Because he's more over than anybody else on the roster, and he can still go. That's why. Age doesn't matter if you can still go. Tell Shawn Michaels that with all the matches he was having with The Undertaker at the end of his career. Do you not want to see those? You telling me that at his age and Undertaker's age, hey, you guys just go off. Don't have 5-star classics that we'll remember for, you know, years and years, and that are going to go down as some of the best WrestleMania matches ever. You know, why did Chris Jericho win the first ever AEW championship? Because he's more over than everybody else on that roster. He's relatable, he gets massive crowd reactions, and he can still go. It doesn't matter. If you're that age and you can still go, no problem at all with me, because you have name recognition, you're over, and you can still go. The problem is if you got a guy like Goldberg. That's a problem, because he cannot go, he cannot do it anymore, and he is not over because the crowd doesn't give a shit. There is a difference there, people. It doesn't matter age if you still have the necessities of what you need to be in that spot. That's what matters. And Edge absolutely has that. He pulled off tremendous matches last year with Randy. I cannot wait to see what matches he's going to be in this year. I know there's a lot of guys, you know, listening to Edge on his podcast, him and Christian, and seeing, you know, guys he's talked about wanting to work with, you know, the Rollinses, the McIntyres, the Reigns, Dan O'Brien's, AJ's, tons of opportunities and potential matches, possibly a match with Christian. I'm all for it, because they would tear the fucking house down, and I guarantee that they would, because they still are in shape, they could still go, and they're still just as, if not more over than anybody else on your roster. That's why those guys are being used. The problems are the Goldbergs and the Lesnars and the, you know, Undertakers. Let's fade away from that, but you can still get these guys in here, because they can still have legitimate 20-30 minute classics with guys that are still on this roster, and help elevate guys like a Chris Jericho is doing in AEW, and elevate young guys to get to those points to where they can then ride off in the sunset and they've helped the next generation become those next guys. Yeah, so I'm all for this. People that bitch about it, come at me, because we can talk about it all goddamn day if you want to. Yeah, tremendous stuff here. Things just make sense, guys. And having Edge go through what he did, having him return at last year's WrestleMania or last year's Royal Rumble, it wasn't his time to win it. This one, another injury he goes through, another trial he had to go through, being the only third person to come in at number 1 and do that marathon and go through that journey, just like his career has been. It all makes sense, and it's a great moment. And it makes sense because he can still go, he's still over, and he still has that recognition of being one of the best in the history of the business, period. So whatever he does, I'm all for, can't wait for it. Let's see if we get a possible, McIntyre-Edge matchup. That'll be some great stuff. We've seen hints of that back in the day, back in 2010, 2011. Do we see him go challenge Reigns? We can see that too. There's a lot of things that can happen. We have 2 pay-per-views in between WrestleMania. The thing that I know is Edge is going to be in a high-profile match, a championship match at WrestleMania, and I am all fucking for it all day long. So great stuff here. Edge getting his second Royal Rumble win and only becoming the 3rd person in history, following up with Shawn Michaels and Chris Benoit, to start in the number 1 position and go through it all and win the Royal Rumble matchup. Great stuff here. Edge moving on to the road to WrestleMania and getting his championship opportunity on this day, baby. I see clearly. Great shit. That's going to wrap it up for me, guys, and my WWE Royal Rumble 2021 review. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel for more content. Like I said, for all the guys on Pro Wrestling Pulse, thank you for all the support over the years. Be sure to click that link down in the description. Check out the new channel. Subscribe to it. Like the videos. All that great stuff. But until next time, be kind to others. Take care of yourselves. And we'll see you guys.